laptop.
Hello, everybody. We are live on what day is today? We're Friday. The kids are off to their grandparents, and less than a week ago, oh, that's me. Hey, me. Less than a week ago, I hit 100 million views on YouTube. That's wild. Like one of those numbers you just stop to think about it, and it's tough to process something that wild, crazy, that big of a number of people have seen my face, heard my opinions on things. So, since we don't have kids, we decided to do a live stream tonight. We got a hard cutoff 2 hours from now because we're off to go see The Fall Guy, as I've said many times. This is the movie I've been wanting to see as a date night movie with my wife since I saw The Fall Guy 2 months ago. Finally, we can do our date night to go see it. But that means we've got two answers to questions. What? 2 hours to answer your questions. And we're having some technical difficulties. The software I'm using isn't letting the secret wife over here to log in to put the questions up to moderate the chat. So we're going to do the best we can with what we got here. First up, we got a super chat from Jake Slitter. Hey, Sean, hope you and your family are doing great, man. We are doing well. Does film Twitter grate on your nerves just as much as it does mine? Yeah. I mean, I only use film Twitter because I have to. That it's the place to have your finger on the pulse of the movie discussion that's taking place, to get the movie news as it drops. That's why I'm on film Twitter. That's how it's useful for me. But beyond that, when it comes to the culture of film Twitter, the snarkiness of film Twitter, it's grating. Just the way people behavior, the weird hot takes. There's one today where a guy put out like, why does nobody talk about how Rise of the Planet of the Apes sucks? And it's like this guy with a flaming hot take. The reason no one talks about why Rise of the Planet of the Apes sucks is because most people don't think that about the film. You're the one with the minority opinion. But it's just like this confident overstating everything that really, really grates on me. So maybe I'll run the super chats and you can just ask other questions. You can't put them up on the screen, but you can read them to me. Okay. So we're trying to figure this out. Secret Wife, did you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, I'm doing technical support.
You got to talk a little bit louder because this is pointed at my head. And I got a big booming voice.
Hi.
Guys, Jennifer Hi is right over here. Truly, thank you guys so much for watching, commenting, all of that fun stuff. I'm able to watch and talk about movies for a living because of you, so thank you so much for making that happen. We're going to do our best here to try and make sure we don't miss any super chats, answer a bunch of non-super chats, and talk movies in as fun as a way as we can, but as always, technology can make that complicated. So I'm going to answer one more super chat, and you line me up a question. Daniel Skinner. Hey, we know Daniel Skinner. We met you in California back in January. Who would be the most likely to survive the Apes apocalypse? Myself, the Disney nerd Michael Zachary, Catherine Austin Burke, or Sean's mother? Well, if you don't know, this is a very much an inside joke for my Patreon live streams. If you join Patreon at any level, you can join our live streams, and we do a couple of them every week, and it's kind of fun because there's normally like 20 people in there, so we actually have like a little bit of a community formed. Who's going to survive in the ape apocalypse? I'm going to go with my mother. You think she's, you think that she's this innocent church lady. You think that she's going to be killed off. And what are you doing in my ape apocalypse? But that's why she'll survive. You're all underestimating my mother and her survival instincts. What do you got for me, Secret Wife?
What are you doing for Mother's Day on Sunday?
What am I doing for Mother's Day on Sunday? I actually don't know. I really do not know what I'm doing for Mother's Day. Our kids are at the grandparents', so probably have to go pick them up. Probably tied to that. They have a pool at the grandparents' house, so maybe we'll go swimming. But I don't know. I haven't. That's 2 days in the future. That is 2 days further ahead than I'm thinking. Real quick one on here. Favorite director of all time. I have a video on this. It's one of my least favorite videos I've ever done. But my top 3 or 4 on there I'm pretty confident in. Spielberg. Of current working directors, we're going to go Nolan. You got another one for me?
Are you a fan of Doctor Who? And are you going to be watching the new episode coming out this week on Disney Plus?
I am not a Doctor Who fan. I have tried to watch some. So, 10, 12, a long time ago, we tried series 1 of the current run from, 2005. Didn't really take. I watched Torchwood series 3, and I kind of dug that. I dug it more than I liked Doctor Who, but I haven't watched any Doctor Who that I've connected with. So, no. I am not. I have no interest in whatever the new one is. People have told me I should try, series 2, try some of the different Doctors to see if that connects a little bit better, but thus far that hasn't happened. Tyler with a super chat. Thank you so much. Congratulations, Sean. What's your favorite movie of the year? And I have accounted for probably 100,000 of those views. That's a double thank you so much. Thank you, all of you. Thank you for making all of this happen. Favorite movie of the year thus far? I don't know. But the 2 competing films, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Obviously, one of those is the new one I just watched, so it has recency bias. Other one, I've sat on a little bit more. Planet of the Apes is a little bit more me. I just love that franchise so much, and Dune, I'm not as invested in that world, or haven't been as invested as long. But those are the 2 competing right now. We'll see whenever I get to take Secret Wife to go see Kingdom, watch it a second time, sit on it a little bit longer. But those are the 2 competing for number 1. What do you got? A quick one for me.
Are you ever going to go to the UK?
Will I ever go to the UK? I would love. I've never been to Europe, any part of Europe. I've been to Hong Kong, been to Canada for 30 minutes, but I went to French Canada, which didn't work very well. Been on a couple of Caribbean cruises. Been to Mexico many times. Been to the Navajo Nation. Never been to Europe. Yeah, I would love to be able to find like a good Comic-Con in Europe and head over there. Some of my friends in the UK. Do some panels over a couple of days, and I know several different people in several different niches. Like, I know heavy spoilers a little bit. Maybe like we could make something happen. That would be really cool. I don't have a plan to do that. I don't know how to organize that because I've never been there. I don't know, but I would love to be able to do that. I think that would be very, very cool. Awesome, Artie with the super chat. Thank you so much. Hey, Sean, I know you said you're not a Stanley Kubrick fan. To be clear, that's not to say I think Stanley Kubrick isn't talented. He's just not on my wavelength. But if you had to pick a favorite movie of his, which one would it be and why? I think there's too many of them I haven't rewatched recently enough to give a definitive answer I'd stand by. Like, my sister and I used to quote Dr. Strangelove all the time back in the day. This is comedy. Full Metal Jacket was a very impactful film. I need to rewatch 2001: A Space Odyssey. So that one's very much on my mind as one I need to check out soon. But those are the ones that immediately come to mind. One of these days, I just got to do the ranking. I got to watch through them, watch them a more critical eye. Maybe I'll be one over. Quick one for me.
Oh, sorry. I'm doing something else. I lost my page. Do you have any excitement for the Minecraft movie?
Do I have any excitement for the Minecraft movie? On a personal level, for me watching the movie, no. My kids are kids, so like every other kid of the modern era, they love Minecraft. And so when my kids get excited about movies, I get excited about movies for them. But I'm not, I personally have no interest in a Minecraft movie. I don't understand Minecraft. JJB with the super chat. All right, thank you so much. Hey, Sean, if you could choose your guys' next 31 on 31 theme, what would it be? So the actual next theme for this May 31st, it's comedies. On Cody Leach's community tab, it's got the movies, and so it's a bunch of different comedies from the last 50 years. Oh, man, what would be a fun 31 on 31? Like, movies I'd like to watch, and it's tough because I've already ranked so many things. And so, and they've done my favorite things already. So we've done, Star Wars has been there, sci-fi action, like that would be the one I would pick. But we've done it. And then some of the ones that I'd missed in the early eras of the Autop stream, we've come back around and done them. So, I don't know. Maybe let's back to what I just said. If we could find a way to do Stanley Kubrick which I would bet Brian be on board with, is Stanley Kubrick and a couple of other like classic all-time directors to get up to 31. Then I get my chance to finally do my Stanley Kubrick ranking. So maybe there it is right there. You got a quick one for me?
Yes. Hold on. Sorry. Rumors about Tony Stark and Natasha coming back.
All right. Is that the whole question?
What do you think? Do you think do you think they're coming back to the MCU?
Yeah. What do I think about the rumors? There's constantly rumors that the original Avengers are coming back. Do I, if on a like buy or sell likelihood over 50% that we will see original Avengers in Secret Wars? I'm buying it. Do I think that will happen in Secret Wars? That we will have... I was about to grab this and say, Black Widow's coming back. Wrong Black Widow. She's coming back in Thunderbolts. Do I think that we will see original dead Avengers come back in Secret Wars? Yes. Because it's built into the cake. That's what you would do. It's the big event. How do you out Endgame? Endgame, multiverse, Endgame, bring back the dead. That's what you do. But, like, do I think that, like, the idea that they're just going to bring them back kind of arbitrarily because they're in trouble, I don't think they're going to do that. I just don't. I think it's unlikely on the simple basis that it's like admitting that you're defeat. Admitted that you're done. You're toast. I think we will see some of our favorites come back in Secret Wars. Why not? And by the time it comes out, it'll have been like almost 10 years, 8 years. That's worth it. They, enough break. They come back for the event film. That's fair. If they bring them back before that, and it's like we're gonna do a 3-movie Tony Stark arc, that's like admitting that your franchise is done. What's the most badass scene in cinematic history? The Caesar Planet of the Apes trilogy. Nice. Does that count? I was talking about Caesar. I got very passionate about him. There's a bunch of them with Caesar. I just watched the Planet of the Apes movies. Caesar saying no for the first time. That one comes to mind. But every one of Caesar's movies, he has a moment where you're like, oh, it's about to go down. Other ones, someone just tears dudes up. Trying to think. That's not what I just watched. What's a movie that I love where someone tears dudes apart?
Oh, I immediately thought of RRR.
RRR, at the rescue sequence, they save one I don't want, if you haven't seen it, go watch RRR. You move into the back half and they do like piggyback ride combat rescue followed by swinging motorcycles at people like baseball bats. That's a good pick. 300 is like just nonstop badassery. So those are
what
those.
About that Cell Block 9?
But Cell Block 99,
yeah,
yeah, that one's pretty intense. And that director has a new movie finally coming out like 6 years later. So anyway, Raymond, next one on Super Chat. Thank you so much. Did you see In Bruges yet? Right here on my floor.
You can't scoot.
I was running over a cord. Still in the wrapper, so I have not seen it yet. It will be seen, I suppose, in the next 2 weeks. It's one of my top 5 favorite movies. Yeah, like a bunch of people said in our little deciding, said it's not a comedy. It's just so funny and so good, it had to be included. It's the greatest film of 2008. Yes, I'm aware Dark Knight came out that year. So we saw, me and Cody saw Banshees of Inisherin at Fantastic Fest, walked out of the theater. Actually, Chris Stuckman was there and we're all talking, and I hadn't seen the movie, and everyone's like, dude, you haven't seen the movie, you gotta go see the movie. People have been telling me I need to see that one for a while now. Here's a quick one right here. Are you going to the advanced screening tomorrow of If in Austin? I did not even know there was an advanced screening of If in Austin, so it looks like a no. It looks like you might be seeing a movie before me. Like, I was curious as to why there had not been an advanced screening, and even did a search to see if I had an invite to see it.
Ooh, you got love and respect from South Australia. Chloe will be stoked.
Oh, very nice. All right, I'm answering one right here. If you want to pull another one.
I got one.
J-Dev, thank you so much. Oh, big old super chat. Truly, thank you so much. I'd love to hear you rank the seasons of The Walking Dead.
It's too early to start.
Yeah, it's my brain is getting fried 15 minutes in. Not a good sign. The Walking Dead. Cody did it. Congratulations on continued YouTube success. I'll tell you right now, that'll never happen. It almost certainly will never happen. And I don't mean that in the defeatist sense. It's just the simple fact that there's too many seasons, and the original show itself had like 10 seasons, so you're talking about 100 episodes. To do one video, then I have to watch 70 hours of television for a show that's now off the air. And then if you add in the spin-offs and tie all that in, all of a sudden we're at 20 seasons. I was an original adopter of The Walking Dead. I had an Apple subscription, iTunes subscription for the first 6 episodes, season 1. This lady over here was like, "What? Stop rewatching season 1 of The Walking Dead."
Doesn't sound like me.
Yeah, that's the worst impression ever. Season 2 comes out, and I was like, this is not quite as good. And season 3 was right around when we had a kid, and there's some plot points in there. And I was like an early adopter, early abandoner. I just figured out, okay, we go somewhere, we feel safe. Turns out the real threat's the human, not just the zombies. Rinse and repeat. I did watch that Negan season, just like sitting there, wanted something to watch that I had no weight to it. I didn't need to cover it, so I watched the Negan show from last year, and I enjoyed it. Like it was, I think it had a more definitive objective than a lot of some of the other Walking Dead. That it was a little bit more like experiencing life in this post-apocalyptic world. This was like this mission about a specific thing. I enjoyed it. Also, Jeffrey Dean Morgan starring in a TV show. Negan's a fun character. So anyway, that's my Walking Dead stuff. But I don't think I would ever be able to watch it to catch up enough to do all that. What do you got for me, Jennifer?
When House of the Dragon... Where did it go? It just reset. When House of the Dragon Season 2 finishes, will you re-rank Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon together?
Will I re-rank Game of Thrones with House of the Dragon when Season 2 of House of the Dragon ends? As of right now, I am on episode 5 of Season 3 of Game of Thrones on my rewatch. There might even be some if I'm so backed up on everything, there might even be some Game of Thrones content as reevaluating some things. Answer to your question, yes, and I'm already in the middle of my rewatch, making progress. I was hoping she'd watch it with me. She hard told me no.
Sorry.
Ethan, just got my first youth pastor position. Congratulations, and I'm so excited. As someone who used to be a youth pastor, what advice do you have for me? Jennifer, you got to join in on this one.
What?
You got to join in on this one. You are as important as I am on this one.
What?
On the question.
I'm not coming over there.
You don't have to be on camera, but the mic's right here.
Okay, what?
So he got his first position as a youth pastor, and he just wants some advice. So, you have to. The wife is
what?
so. What? You know exactly why. You know why. You know why. You do.
Okay.
I think that the big one is that sometimes you're drawn to being a youth pastor because of the showy side to it. That's what I was good at. That's why I'm good at this. Being the showy stuff is not being a pastor. Loving people is being a pastor. And so always remember that you're a pastor first, not a public speaker, not an event planner, pastor first. You need to have a pastor. Your pastor might be your boss, and that makes it difficult for you to have a pastor. So if you need to find a pastor down the road, a mentor, but you need a pastor. You need someone watching over you that you can be honest to and be a human and a sinner to. In the sense of you are a sinner, so you need someone you can be honest to. You need to know your limits and know how to say no. I didn't say no to anything. I said yes because I wanted to be an overachiever. A lot of people in ministry are overachievers, and I literally burned myself into the ground saying yes to everything, wanting to be able to do all these things, and burned myself to the ground and could have killed myself or someone else in the consequences of the way I dealt with all of that. You have to have something. You got to have some advice.
I don't know even where to start. I'm sorry. There's so much. I'm sorry. I don't have a channel. I don't.
He needs our advice. We can save him from the drama
Literally
that we went through.
I don't think you can save everybody.
But that's true. Right. That's actually good, right there.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I said.
Exactly. She said, know that you can't save everybody. You can't save anybody, really. You can try and be faithful. You can be present. You can give good advice. You can't change someone's heart. You can't make someone make a good choice. And you have to be okay with, my job is to be faithful and do the right thing.
I got one.
Okay, final one. We got to move on.
Don't do everything by yourself.
Don't do everything by yourself. Yes, get as many people to help you as you can. Alrighty. Stephen with the super chat. Thank you so much, kind sir. Hi, Sean. Can't stay on the stream, working late tonight, but just wanted to say congratulations. Thank you. No YouTuber, no YouTuber deserves it more. Truly, thank you so much. Once again, also thank you to all of you for making this happen. Sean, how many Planet of the Apes books have you read? I haven't read the actual fiction book, but I read 2 behind-the-scenes books, which I mention in my video that comes out theoretically tomorrow. Andre with Super Chat, thank you so much. A laptop computer with work on the screen. I don't know what that means at all, but thank you for the super chat.
I had to move because my laptop was in the background. I don't know if that was it or not.
Okay.
That's why I'm over here instead of where I was.
Oh, I see. Well, now we know. Now I know. You already knew. Get another question for me. Because it says,
Sean.
Kenny says, do you play Grand Theft Auto? I am an OG Grand Theft Auto player. Back to me in church world. My high school Bible study, the original Grand Theft Auto came out, and we would play Grand Theft Auto, the original one. The top-down, looking down. We had the shareware version of it on a desktop computer. And then jump forward a few years, and my friends got who were in college had a dorm, and they had Grand Theft Auto 3. I didn't like Grand Theft Auto 4 at all. I didn't play San Andreas. I did play Vice City, and I've played through Grand Theft Auto 5. I haven't done online at all. What do you got for me, Jennifer?
Have your opinions improved on Guardians 2? Yes or no?
If you watch my ranking that I did at the end of last year, it has my answer to that. And I think if you watch any of my rankings from last year, it has my answer to that. But the one at the end of the year, where I did a deep dive, tried to I read books on the history of the making of the MCU, so many articles, frustrations, editorials. My answer is in last year's ranking on that one. AJ with the super chat. More pressure, Fantastic Four or Superman Legacy? It is Superman Legacy by 10 miles. Fantastic Four has weight on its shoulders because it's can they do it right? First family of Marvel, MCU's on rocky ground. But it's just it's movie 35 in a franchise. There's an Avengers movie coming out a year, 6 months after it comes out or whatever. There's weight on its shoulders, but it's an important movie. Superman Legacy is the reboot of a thing that they just ground into, burned into the ground. DC is a multi-billion-dollar franchise. Dark Knight Rises, Joker, Aquaman, billion-dollar films. And Justice League should have been $1 billion, maybe $2 billion film. Batman v Superman should have been a $1.5 billion film. But they didn't pick the right strategy that was broad enough. And they had 7 movies in a row that lost them money. So much so they pulled the plug entirely, rebooting. It has all of the weight on its shoulders. All of it. And if it bombs, what does Warner Brothers do with this extremely valuable property that they cannot figure out how to reset? All right, you got one for me, Jennifer?
I did. Sorry, no. Hold on.
Okay, pull up real quick. What are your expectations for Cobra Kai Season 6? I don't have too much just yet. I like that they're doing the 3 parts. I prefer anything that releases a season over time rather than on a day. I think is better. Closing season, let's make it an event. Also, it helps me as a content creator. But I feel like all the obvious plot lines to close out the show have already been resolved. Daniel, Johnny, all these, like, they've resolved them, and now we have another season. And like the World Tournament feels contrary to Mr. Miyagi's vision for all of this.
What do you think about Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern?
What do I think? Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern. I think it's overly hated, but it's not very good. It kind of falls into that category of just like a very blah film where you have a bunch of movie stars, you have a big property, you have big expensive effects, and they just picked the wrong version. Where it's like, this is just dull, it's not interesting, you've made Ryan Reynolds kind of boring. And so yeah, it's like it's like one of those movies that just doesn't, like when people like the poo cloud at the end is really stupid and bad, but most of the movie it's not even interesting bad. You can't like point out all these things about it that are bad. It's just like leaves no impact. Scott with the super chat, thank you so much. Who do you want as the team lineup for Avengers 5? That's the problem. I don't know. I don't know who I want because they haven't built anyone up. I don't know how they relate to each other, interact with each other. I don't know what's interesting about any of it. So that's my problem. I mean, you can go through everyone that they've introduced that's still alive and go, I want these people. You can do that. And so, yeah, I want Shang-Chi in there. Let's throw Yelena in there as our Black Widow. And, like, you can go through everybody and just throw them in there. That's what they've historically done, throw everyone in there. But they're also doing Thunderbolts, so they're already doing a different team up. So, I don't, like, what I want from an Avengers team ties to the story and ties to which characters are interesting together. I don't know which characters are interesting together, and I don't know where the story is going. So I can't even really interact with the question and give you a real, meaningful, deep answer. I can just tell you why I don't have a good answer to your question. Colin with a super chat. Thank you so much. Congrats on all the success, Sean. Well deserved. Very much appreciated. You got one for me, Jennifer.
What?
You got one for me.
Do you think if Ben Affleck will make a surprise cameo in Deadpool or Wolverine?
Do I think Ben Affleck will be in Deadpool and Wolverine in a cameo? I would say over 50%. I'd guess, yeah. There's enough rumors, speculation, multiverse fun that, you know, if like strong speculation Jennifer Garner showing up, why wouldn't Ben Affleck show up? They're, you know, it's public. They're on good enough terms because they like go to church together with their kids. So I think they can make a joke about a movie they were in 20 years together. So I'd go pretty likely it's going to happen.
Lots of people are asking about the creature behind you.
Oh, which one?
Who it is.
Oh. Well, this one right here, that one is Rhodey. He's the good dog. The other one's the bad dog.
Hey.
What? It's true. It's true. She's mean to me. She's right here. She's great. She's lovely. Super chat, thank you so much. Hello, I would like to ask, who is the king of IMAX? Christopher Nolan, Denis Villeneuve, or James Cameron? Well, James Cameron doesn't put out enough movies to be in the conversation. And Christopher Nolan almost made a science movie about that's rated R. Almost made $1 billion. Nolan wins. Nolan's the king. Villeneuve, I think he's on the path. He might be able to catch up, but I think Nolan is just ahead of him in this game thus far. T-Dog with the super chat. Thank you so much. Why did you talk about the post Pedro Pascal made calling Trump supporters Nazis on X when talking about the post Gina Carano made on X? I don't do politics. I made a video about her being fired. And what I said in the video that I got a lot of pushback for was I think that everyone should be held to the same standards. That to me meant, yeah, if you're going to fire Gina, you also probably should fire the guy calling the supporters of the president Nazis. Or you should punish both of them, treat both of these inflammatory statements the same. I would say that I believe I said that in there. I had people like, dude, your response to someone being censored for their fired for their free speech is to restrict more free speech. I was like, well, no, my point was if you represent a brand and you publicly make inflammatory statements that reflect poorly on a brand, there's a reason. Like, there's almost certainly clauses in contracts saying don't say stupid things, don't say inflammatory things. You can say political things. That's not the same thing as inflammatory things. But when I said that they should hold people to similar standards, that's what I had in mind. That was a live stream that I did live. Like, it was a straight up live stream. Like, there's news. Let me talk. Give my freeform thoughts about it. I don't think celebrities should be making inflammatory statements. I think most of them should shut up about this stuff. There's a reason I don't chime in on a lot of it. I have a platform because you guys like me talking about Superman and Marvel characters, CGI people, spaceships. That's my expertise, not all these complicated issues. And so it's a misuse of my platform, and it's a misuse of their platform to say a bunch of things on a lot of this stuff, and most of them would be wise to be quiet. Or more appropriate, like, this is what I'm voting for, this is why, but like the way that so much of it handled is crazy.
I have a question.
1 second. Matt with Super Chat. Thank you so much. Blue Ruin versus Green Room, assuming you saw both. I'm so sorry about this. I have seen neither of them. I have not seen either one of those, so I cannot chime on either one. I am so sorry about that, especially with the Super Chat. I wish I had an answer that had anything even remotely interesting to say, but I did not. What do you got for me over here?
Who would win in a three-way fight?
Okay. Dwight?
Jack Reacher?
Wait, Dwight?
I assume from The Office.
Dwight from The Office, Jack Reacher.
John Wick.
John Wick.
I guess because Dwight fought himself? I don't know.
All right. Let's be fair here. Dwight's just dead. Dwight dies of a heart attack. It's a little bit tough because we got it like... Does John Wick have his guns? Is he like showing up ready to shoot? I think with
which Jack Reacher is it?
Yeah, we talking Alan or we talking Tom Cruise is dead. But I think if we're just saying fight, we didn't say gunfight. We just said fight. I'm going Jack Reacher.
Agreed.
Super Chat, thank you so much. What is your favorite film based on a Dr. Seuss book? What are the good ones? Seuss?
Super divided, actually.
Yeah.
The Lorax, but some people love it, some people hate it.
And then they
Grinch.
go the Grinch. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. This is the special. It's not a movie. So then you go to Grinch, which I'm not crazy about. I don't know. Are there any that I actually like?
Karis loves the Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, Karis loves the Benedict. Yeah, she used to watch that one on loop. I don't know. I'm trying. Maybe I'm missing one, but maybe by default it's Grinch. But I don't know that I have one that like really jumps out at me.
Brody. Dude.
Oh, sorry, scrolling through here to figure out where we're at. All right, got a super chat from Taylor Swift. Oh, it says Taylor Swift greater than Disney, Star Wars, and MCU, and Doctor Who. I thought Taylor Swift had joined us in here, and I was like, only $1? Being kind of cheap there, don't you think? Dollar from... There's no question, though. It's just $1. Well, hey, Taylor Swift, I appreciate the super chat. What do you got for me, Jennifer?
Oh, sorry. I was trying to figure out the mystery. What do you think Michael Bay is missing in his directed films that would make his films truly spectacular?
Michael Bay needs a good script. Like, he needs a strong enough producer that, all right, Michael, you know how to shoot action. You know how to do iconic imagery. You don't get to throw in all your stupid jokes. You don't get to bend high school girls over trucks and zoom in on their butts. That's creepy. You're 60 years old, creeper. We're not going to do that. But you got a great eye. So here's a script that matches what you're doing well. Like he can't have much script input at all. Like it's that. Because you can like, there's a number of things that he's done that I think are really good, and one of the reasons they're really good is because of him. And then there's all these other ones that are disastrous because of him. So I think you have to have someone that can control him a little bit. The Disney nerd is in the house. Keep, watch, burn, Vader edition. Wait, excuse me. Quote edition. Vader, I am your father. Caesar, you are not ape. Colonel Jessup, you can't handle the truth. All right, I'm going to burn Caesar. You are not an ape. Because that's not the quote I would have picked. I think you picked the wrong quote. That's a good one for the moment, but he has all these iconic moments where his like the delivery's so intense.
He said
you are
picked
not
the right one, or you never would have been able to pick. If he picked the quote that you would have picked for
But
Caesar.
that's the game though. They pick three things that it's always an impossible one. That's the whole point of it. They're meant to be cruel. I mean, then we'll go watch. You can't handle the truth. It's a classic. You gotta keep. I am your father. Here's a tough one for me. Quick one, real quick. Seinfeld or The Office. I have rewatched the first 4 seasons of The Office infinitely more times than I've watched Seinfeld. But The Office went off the rails. Seinfeld was great up until like the finale, and they picked a weird way to end it. But it was a great groundbreaking thing from beginning to end. Office has the most rewatchable first 4 seasons of any show I've ever seen. Max with a super chat. Thank you so much. Do you have a favorite religious movie? Do I? A favorite religious movie? Religious movie's tough because faith-based movie, what falls into that category?
Les Mis.
I mean, I don't watch a lot of faith-based films because historically they've been very like sermon illustration-y to me. Sermon illustration turned into a 2-hour film, and it didn't interest me. Of course, Passion of the Christ is one of those movies that made a big impact for a lot of people, but it's like I don't rewatch that, but it was very impactful when I did watch it. And then of like some of the recent stuff, I think they've been moving in a good direction with some of these faith-based films. Not that I'm saying this is a favorite, but like Ordinary Angels? What is the Alan Richardson, Hilary Swank one from a couple months back? Really good. And they're moving into kind of this inspirational direction, filling in a void that Hollywood's not doing some of these earnest inspirational films anymore, and the faith-based community is moving into it, and so they just stand out for that reason. Rubicon! Super chat, thank you so much. If I could suggest a film to watch, it would be Searching for Bobby Fischer. Congratulations on all the success. Yeah, I've never seen it. This is, like, I've heard of this movie for 30 years. Like, I saw the trailer on VHS tapes and stuff way back in the day, but I've never seen the movie. So one of these days I gotta check it out. Congratulations on all the success. Truly, thank you so much to you, to everyone. You guys made it possible. So thank you. Jennifer, you got one for me.
Character death that still wrecks you.
We just watched the Caesar trilogy of Apes films. So every single one of those movies has a death that wrecks you. So without wanting to spoil any of those, because those are very present that some of you might be watching for the first time, any number of deaths from the Caesar trilogy that I just watched. Not wanting to spoil one, but inherently spoiling it. Alien 3, the beginning of that film. that one, for its own reasons, wrecks me. What's one that comes to mind? One that... Do you close your computer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We can talk about it later. I'm on my phone watching it.
Okay.
I don't know. 300?
No, there's nothing. Those guys are like so happy to die.
I don't know.
So, yeah. I'm trying to think if there's a I was trying to think of an interesting one. You're like in the middle of like flying through questions. Your brain isn't opening the right files. So you're like, what's a movie death that messed me up? Because there's ones that like Tony Stark in Endgame doesn't mess me up. It's just like, okay, it's a full arc.
You told me about. I literally never watched the movie, and I still am constantly traumatized by remembering. Is it The Fog?
Oh, the Mist.
The Mist.
Oh yeah, the end of The Mist. Woo! Any number of say the movie The Iron Claw. Anyway, super chat. Congrats, Sean. Thoughts on Ip Man? I love from Singapore. This is one of those really stupid blind spots in my viewing history. As a martial arts guy, that like I've been watching Donnie Yen movies since 1998. And I was watching like In the Line of Duty 4 and like having to like track down his films over the internet, like trading VHS tapes with people. And I've never seen any of the Ip Man films. Now that you have access to them, somehow I've never seen the Ip Man films, which is just stupid and a shame upon my soul. Why did I phrase it like that? Because it was deservedly so. We got a super chat. Thank you so much. Hey, Sean, I just watched your last video on your other channel. If you don't know, I have a second channel called Sean Chandler Plus, where a large percentage of it is clips from my live streams from Patreon. Join Patreon at any level, and you get access to our weekly live streams. There's 2 weekly live streams, as little as $2 per month, $20 per year, $21 per year. Get access to all the live streams. I answer everybody's questions. So if you like this sort of thing, I do this every Saturday. Just not with as many people. It's like 20 people in there. But second channel, Sean Chandler Plus, has the clips that kind of has this free-form Sean Chandler about Star Wars. That was a long little rabbit trail in the middle of a sentence I was reading. Does that means that you won't make a video about how to fix episode 2 or 3? I always believe that Kenneth Branagh fits well for episode 3. So what he's talking about, on my second channel, I put out a video called How to Fix the Prequels. Catherine from Patreon asked about one fixing point, so I shared some thoughts on it. I did a video like 4 or 5 years back called How to Fix Phantom Menace, because I have a very clear vision in my head on how to make that movie better, that I said in that video, as well as the one that he's referring to. And ever since then, people are like, so what would you do with Attack of the Clones in part 3? Tomorrow, also on that channel, I'll have a second video talking about all of that stuff, actually with Cobra Kai Kid, and I have a few more thoughts. The problem is, with Phantom Menace, I kept the story and was just tweaking it and fixing it. But with what I do with Phantom Menace and my thoughts on Attack of the Clones, I would have to come up with my own story. That's more difficult. It's a lot easier to be like, oh yeah, just make Anakin older. It's better now. As opposed to Attack of the Clones doesn't have a plot, so I had to come up with my own plot. So... I have a ton of notes on it. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I have a lot of notes. We got a super chat. Thank you so much. Hey, Sean, big fan. What's a trope most people don't like in films that you really like? I mean, like, I'm an action movie guy, and so, like, all of the tropes of action movies that, the guy that's underestimated. Who's this guy sneaking around in the background? This underestimated action hero. The guy that's underestimated, that is wronged and he's back for revenge. I mean, revenge stories always work for me. Love seeing the revenge. I love all of that stuff. Most all of the cliches of action work for me. I don't know, like a lot of the because we're so sensitive to so many tropes and trying to be clever and deconstruct and subvert expectations, these days, like most of the time, if you just lean into it non-ironically, most of it works for me. But like the revenge movie ones, those ones, like even crappy movies, they just work for me. What do you got for me, Jennifer?
This one is going to be very important.
Okay. Sounds important.
Keep, Watch, Burn.
Keep, Watch, Burn.
Superman, Rocky, Jaws.
Right. Burn, easy. Jaws. It's
How?
out of here.
No!
Crappy
That's
movie,
why it's supposed
garbage.
to be problematic.
So, no problem here. Easy. Just Jaws. Actually, this gets tricky because I have a wife. It's her favorite movie of all time. She likes Rocky too, and we've got
That's true.
Rocky right here. So I've got something from her from the 70s. Everyone wins. Rocky is so rewatchable, so we're gonna keep Rocky and we're gonna watch Superman.
Burn Jaws. I don't even know what to do with you.
Zachary with the super chat. Thank you so much. Hey Sean, any tips to get better at analyzing, criticizing movies besides just watching a lot of them? Read books on storytelling, screenwriting, directing. Read books that give you the language of movie making, so that when you watch a movie, you have a vocabulary to articulate what you're feeling. Everyone feels something when they watch a movie, but they can't take the ideas and the feelings in their head and put them into words. That's your job. So, the broader your vocabulary for films, the more you understand films and why certain things work and move us in certain ways, the more that you can say why you feel that way, the more other people will understand your perspective, and you will help other people put their feelings into words. That to me, when someone says like, hey, you put my feelings into words better than I could, that to me is about the biggest compliment someone can give me. Right along with, I totally disagree with you, but now, like, because I loved the movie, didn't like the movie, but I understand exactly what you're saying. Like, you help me understand someone else's perspective on this thing. So, read books on movie making, storytelling, all of that. Read books on the making of movies, so you understand where this thing came from and why it is the way that it is. It's similar to the other one, but it also gives a historic context. So this is a big one that I've started doing a lot over the last 2 years. So like I ordered 2 different books on the making of Planet of the Apes. I ordered listened to 2 different audiobooks on the making of the Mad Max films. And just give this background. You want to be upstream from your readers, your viewers. You're thinking about the film on a much more holistic, bigger perspective. So you have a deeper history, understanding of the film. You have a better vocabulary to articulate your feelings about it. And the other one, read and watch a bunch of movie critics, reviewers that are wildly different from you. And write down little phrases that they use. Just you're not copying their phrase to put in your, you don't, oh, he said this great thing about John Wick, I want to say what he said in my John Wick review. But how did he talk about John Wick? And just have these phrases for how to talk about movies a little bit better. And how do people look at movies? What are the grids by which they evaluate films and see them? And just do a ton of these. So yeah, read books on the making of movies. Read books on making of on the history of a specific movie. How was Mad Max made? Read general movie books on screenwriting, storytelling, directing, cinematography, all that stuff. And just be into a ton of criticism. To just think about movies as broadly as you possibly can. Tony Movie Chappie, District 9 Neil Blomkamp fan. I have now seen all of Neil Blomkamp's films. Whenever we last met in person at MegaCon, I had seen, I think, only District 9. Now I've seen all of them. I, too, am a massive Neil Blomkamp fan now and want more from him. Which is worst, Howard the Duck or She-Hulk? I think artistically speaking, She-Hulk is worse. Which one is more watchable? She-Hulk is more watchable. But, I view, the frustration with She-Hulk is, it feels like so many things wrong with this big corporate system of Marvel Studios right now, and just thinking that's off with a big corporate thing. How can we make a Marvel product for every demographic? So all of a sudden we're making a legal sitcom in the MCU. What are we doing? Whereas Howard the Duck is, whoa, weird. It's out there. But there was a truth to what they were doing. It was bad, but it was authentic, and that sort of thing I respect more. It's not more watchable. She-Hulk's watchable in its own way. Yeah. You got one for me, the Jennifer?
Has Karis gotten mad at you for putting Trolls in your least favorite movies?
Least favorite franchise.
Oh, franchise.
That video came out yesterday. No one, to my knowledge, has told Karis that yesterday we on the channel...
Do Liam and Chloe know? Because they will tell her immediately.
Yeah, that's... I did not tell them. That.
It's probably
but
for the
they are also not fans of Trolls the way Karis is. In particular because they're obsessed with it. She's obsessed with it.
Yeah. Got another one.
Finster with Super Chat. Thank you so much. Do you know the film Pelham 123? I'm aware of Pelham 123, and I'm also aware that there's a remake of it. I have not seen either version of it, unfortunately. I wish I could give you a more satisfying answer, but unfortunately I can't. As a quick one, what's your favorite movie? I have a video with my top 40 favorite movies, so you can find out all 40 of my favorite movies. You got one for me, Jennifer?
Yes. Sorry. Would you and Jennifer do a Rambo 2008 commentary? I believe it would be amazing.
So, will Jennifer and I do a Rambo 2008 commentary?
Absolutely not.
So I'm a big Stallone fan. We literally went to go see this movie during our honeymoon. Like, before we went off to our exotic honeymoon location, I was like, there's a Georgia, cabin in Georgia. Luckily, we weren't killed by a chainsaw-wielding maniac.
Or a cocaine bear.
Before I was like, obviously, we need to stop by the theater. A new Rocky movie came out. We got to go see Rocky. And then a year later, it's like, there's a new Rambo movie out. We need to go see it. At this point in time, I hadn't fully realized I don't have to take her to every movie I go see. So you go see Rambo 4, and it's just like body parts blown to pieces. Like, that is a brutal film.
I think that's still the most violent movie I've seen ever.
It would be very possible. That would be, yeah. And a learning experience for me. Don't take wife to most violent movie. Will you do an updated ranking of Star Wars? I mean, I've done many updated, like I did one last year, I believe. So I don't think it's been 2 years since I did one. Maybe it was when Obi-Wan came out, but I have done one within the last 2 years. So will I ever do another one? Sure, whenever there's a new thing that makes it make sense. It's getting tricky because there's so many things out there. So do I just do movies? Do I just do TV shows? If it's TV shows, is it just live action? It gets weird. Hey, Sean. With Super Chat, thank you so much. Hey, Sean, are you real? I started taking my special pills and I can't see you anymore.
What?
That's interesting. I am real. I recently saw someone, they also thought I wasn't real. They had a better reason for a more different reason, that they were surprised to see me in real life. But I am in fact real. You got one for me, Jennifer?
What do you think about Cobra Kai being split into 3?
What do I think about Cobra Kai being split into 3? Short version, I'm a fan. I don't like the binge model. I don't like to drop it all at once, especially with the last season. Let's do it in parts. If it was up to me, I would say let's drop 2 episodes per week for 2 months. That's what I would do, something more like that, or 6 weeks, 3 at the beginning, 3 at the end, something like that, and make it a 6-week event, week to week, water cooler TV show, theory, speculation. That's what I would do. Some of that's because I'm in the space, so that sometimes that stuff helps me out a lot. But I think it makes your show have a bigger cultural impact to where people talk about it for a whole stretch. You get to drive the conversation. But if they're not going to do that, I'd rather them do these 3 parts, make it an event that keeps happening, better for me as a content creator, than just dropping it all at once. Hound Syrup, what's your favorite book? What would you like to see get a movie adaptation? So,
what's your favorite book, and
would you like to see get a... that's slightly different.
It's different.
Thank you so much for the super chat. I actually mostly read or by read I mean read with my ears, use an Audible, nonfiction. I'm not a big fiction person when it comes to books. That's what movies and TV are for me. So I don't have like a fiction book that comes to mind that I want that one to be adapted, because there's really not that many that I've checked out that aren't already a book. Like, oh, you're gonna make a movie out of that? Let me listen to it. Like, it's more that sort of thing than the other way around. Even like right now, like one we listened to you listened to years ago, Dark Matter.
Woo woo!
She's a big fan of it. Workout partner, best friend for 30 years, Peter Butler, big fan of it. They got me to read it, listen to it, and then they announced they were doing an adaptation that came out last week, and we're watching it together. But I don't have one. So, as an author that I've really liked the last 20 years, Malcolm Gladwell. You can't really adapt his into movies, but I just like the way he thinks and the way that he finds a perspective and can take things that aren't very interesting and make them really interesting. Pizza Rolls with Super Chat. Thank you so much. What if they did the Expendables cast for Barbie 2 or 3 as the Kens? So, we do Barbie 2, Barbie 3, doesn't matter either one because we don't have a plot yet. And our Kens are the Expendables. Expendikens.
Oh my goodness. Expendikens?
Expendikens.
That's funny.
Now, I'm saying they're not all the Kens, but that's the plot of our movie, is that you've got the Kens that we know and love from the first movie, and then the Expendikens.
Maybe
so what has
like
happened...
The off-brand, like the garbage patch kids.
Maybe they're the off-brand Barbie Kens. Maybe much like Weird Barbie, Weird Kens, where the brothers took the Kens, made them their G.I. Joes or whatever. So you got the Expendikens over there with our Expendables joining in. We just pitched
the G.I. Joes.
We just pitched the ultimate Barbie 2 or 3. Good, me and you, Pizza Rolls, we got to work together more to make more of these pitches for Hollywood. Imagination Station with the Super Chat. Thank you so much. Have one ready for me. Why do YouTube critics rarely review the films from the golden age of cinema, 1920s to 1960s, like Dracula or Godzilla? What do you think of them? Well, I mean, I think there's multiple different reasons. Like the most basic answer for it is there's not a ton of demand for that. So you review things that have demand for them. There's nothing creating urgency and demand for those. There's no reason that if I reviewed Dracula today versus next week versus for a year from now that it would be the right time to do it. So it just becomes like this thing of to get people to watch that, you have to build a brand on YouTube just reviewing all of the Hammer monster movies or whatever. Or you have to build that brand of covering the Golden Age films. And the other side to it is that the YouTube era of people were just more younger and technological. We're not the kind of the nature of the beast is we're just normal fanboys of the current era. I don't watch Golden Age films. Not like, have I seen them? Have I watched them? Sure. But do I just sit around watching Golden Age films regularly? No, I do not. Like back to about 75, maybe a few early 70s, but like Rocky, Jaws, Star Wars. That's when it's like movies start really being on my wavelength. There's any number of movies before that I do enjoy, but like I'm just not watching a ton of Golden Age films. And I imagine that's a lot of people in the space. Like you're talking about movies that like came out. The earliest of those are over 10 years before I was born. So, like, I enjoy doing, like, my Planet of the Apes ranking because it gives me an opportunity to cover 5 movies from the 60s and 70s. And when there's opportunities to do that, but there's not a lot of opportunities that create that moment where people will actually click on it. And that's the thing that makes YouTube tricky, is so much of it is driven by what people click on. I think, like, there's people that cover Godzilla. I'm not in that. Like, I'm not a huge Godzilla person. Like, I didn't grow up watching the old Godzilla movies at all. The first one I probably watched was the crappy '98 Roland Emmerich one. So anyway, those are some thoughts on all of that.
You asked me to have one.
Yeah, what do you got for me?
Have you seen Shogun?
Have I seen Shogun? We've watched the first episode. Part of the problem, we've been busy. Like, the last 3 weeks, she's had a trip. Literally, all of the last 3 weeks, she's left town. We returned her rental car this morning. She, like, drove to Dallas 1 week. She drove to San Antonio the other week. And then 2 weeks back, we were both in Nashville. And then I was at Overlook Film Festival with Cody Leach. I was at South by Southwest. I haven't had time. It's the same reason I haven't covered X-Men 97, despite that being an obvious thing, both as a Marvel person as well as someone that watched the original X-Men the animated series when it originally ran and had the toys because I was in the 5th grade when it ran. I haven't had time. So I'll cover it next week, but I just haven't caught up on a lot of the stuff. So we watched the first episode, went, that was cool, and just haven't had time. PvP God, do you plan to direct a movie in the future? I mean, I doubt it'll ever happen. If the opportunity presented itself, I would be game to give it a try. It's just not something that you can just stumble into. Like, that's something that it's a very difficult thing to get to direct a movie, because to make a movie, you're either doing it ultra cheap and you're like, who would even watch this? Or you have to find a way to get people to trust you with $1 million. And that would be an ultra low budget movie. You got $1 million. And it's such like a, where do you even go from there? It's this gigantic project that there's the side to it that we understand, and then there's project management, which, so, you know, me and Cody Leach frequently talk about someday going somewhere and writing get a Cabin in the Woods and then write a Cabin in the Woods script over a weekend or something like that. So maybe something will happen, be small if I ever did anything. I don't. Like, the idea of directing a blockbuster doesn't interest me, because you're basically the CEO of a $200 million corporation. I don't want to do that. That sounds awful. 2 years straight, people are pestering you with questions all the time, dealing with bureaucratic nonsense. Like, my wife over here had, like, the smallest little thing with her work, and I was like, you need to email this person, and this is not right, and then... I just don't, like, the reason I work for myself is that I don't do... You
don't play well with others.
I don't play well with others. I don't play well with incompetent people. I work well with people that I think I like working with. But even people that are competent that work differently than me, people that I even am friends, like really good friends with, that I would hate to work with and have hated working with, because I work the way that I work. Zach with the super chat. Thank you so much. Thoughts on Kingdom doing pre-motion capture version for the media release? Will more movies do this? If you don't know what he's referring to, supposedly they are going to put out a version of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes on the Blu-ray where it's just the dudes in the motion capture suits. People running around with the unitards, the camera on their face, doing this. Supposedly they're going to do that. Will it actually happen? I don't know all the workflow editing process of how difficult it would be to actually cut that together. Someone's got to do it, and this feels like the franchise where people would be very interested to see that. Will more movies do it? Depends on how much work it actually takes to do it. But I don't know how many movies you want to see that for.
I feel like it'd be a better short format.
Right, like, how much, like, do you actually want to watch the whole movie that way?
No.
Like, the novelty of that, the amount of work that it would take for them to make that presentable, but then you don't actually want to watch that. Like the novel, like, you know, like these Mr. Beast videos where he counts to 1 million and it takes him 40 hours. You're a weirdo, like an extreme weirdo if you watch that whole thing. Like, you want to click on it and you watch the first minute and then you skip forward and you watch like 2 minutes of it. That's what that would be like. You don't want to watch the whole thing. So I don't think that would become like a regular thing that people would do, because I don't know how much actual demand there is for that. Emerald with the super chat. Thank you so much. Have you heard of the film Janine Dillman? Thoughts? I have not. I don't know anything about it. Unfortunately, that one is not ringing any bells. I'm sorry for that one. I wish I had a better answer for you. Have you seen Spectacular Spider-Man Show? Once again, I wish I had a better answer for you. I have not. I watched, I'm of the age that I'm all the 90s shows. So, obviously, Batman the Animated Series, obviously, X-Men the Animated Series, and also, to me, obviously, Spider-Man the Animated Series. Less obviously, there was a Fantastic Four show, there's an Iron Man show, there's a Hulk show. I watched all of those ones in the 90s, but I did not watch the Spectacular Spider-Man because I am old. You got one for me, Jennifer?
Sorry, I was looking up Janine Dillman. I didn't know what it was. Oh.
Here's a quick one.
Go.
Do you sing and play guitar in the church? No, but I did. I pretty much from about 2003 until COVID, actually. COVID is what ended my my worship career. Up until COVID, or the year before COVID, I had been in charge of the worship band for the youth. And I was doing a little bit, like once a month I was in big church. And they let me sing one time. One time in my adult life, they let me sing in big church.
They let you.
Thank you, Doug. You're the one person that trusted me. And of the services, I unplugged my earbuds right before the song started that I was leading. The only song I did that on my song and messed it up. So the one time they trusted me, I messed it up. But when COVID hit, we stopped meeting and all that kind of fell apart. And then I just thought this isn't the right use of my time and my skills. Like if I'm going to volunteer at the church, I should probably be teaching, not playing guitar. Teaching, speaking is my primary skill set. Music is something I love, and I'm almost good enough to do it. I'm good enough. The importance of me as a musician is that a lot of my former students are much better than me now. The worship band at our church now it's over half my former students. The lead guy who's on staff now, the backup guy who sings and plays guitar, and the drummer, all former students. And then one of the lead singers, all my former students that I know very well. And then others, all these other places that I could help them on their journey, hopefully gave them a passion and did a part, but they were more talented, more gifted than me. I am almost good enough, but not quite good enough. So it's one of those, it's the thing I always wish, like just a pinch better, like at all of it, it would make all the difference. But, part of the reality, you get older and you realize your strengths and your weaknesses. So I haven't done any music in church, I guess, in 4 years now. Which is weird to think about. Like this guitar right here that you can't see, I bought it to help with the youth band whenever I became a youth pastor. That's why I got that guitar. It was like my one of my gifts to myself for graduating from college. And it's now a decoration in my office that has not been used in 4 years. Weird. That's weird to think about. Did you have a question, a statement?
What's the movie that you and I disagree on the most?
You gotta make sure you talk loud. What's the movie that you and I disagree on the most? What would you say?
Alex and Emma.
Alex and Emma. Totally random pick.
That's the one we disagree on the most. That I can think of.
I mean, no, but that's not true.
Why?
Because it's a movie in a
category. We're disagreeing currently right now.
It's a movie in a category where we have overlap, but there's all these movies that like you despise them because they're categorically ones you're not into. Mm-hmm. Alex, I don't even know if I've seen Alex and Emma. Like that's just me being a jerk. That's me being difficult. Like I don't even. Which one even is that? Was that the one Huey? Or is that Huey Grant?
No.
Huey Jackman?
No.
That's the Luke Wilson.
Luke Wilson.
I don't even know what that movie is. Like I don't. That's a movie. I just said something stupid about it because I'm obnoxious.
RoboCop.
Yeah, but that's where it's tough. Like we overlap pretty well on most of the big genres, and then she doesn't watch horror, so like kids go to bed and I'll head up here and I'll watch the movies for my horror rankings or whatever on this TV, and she'll be downstairs. So we're just not in the same space. Like Frailty is probably the one where I have to pick because that was the learning experience year one of marriage. Don't show wife Frailty.
I don't think we were married. You
It might have
watched
been
it in our apartment before you moved in, and then you left me, and I was alone in the creepy apartment at night after watching that, and I had to watch Sweet Home Alabama on loop just so I wouldn't like freak out.
Speaking of watching movies on loop, a couple days ago, I walked into our living room and my wife was watching the same scene from The Idea of You. The same scene 4 times. 4 different times has happened because she watched the movie in its entirety 4 whole times. Actually, more than that. Because I walked in another time and it was right before that. They were in the warehouse right before they went back for sandwiches at the house.
But it's not like I was watching that one scene on loop. It was just your timing was so
That's
consistent
what
that
you
kept
claim.
coming in.
All right, I got to start moving faster. We've got I don't know if there's a way for me to turn off super chats. I might have to do that. All right. I think hopefully this doesn't jack things up. I just turned off super chats. Sorry. I love you guys sitting at super chats because it's money for me. But I'm going to run out of time. Right now I'm 40 minutes behind and we got to leave in 47 minutes. We got to go to date night. We got to watch The Fall Guy. Fingers crossed she's on Team Sean Chandler, not Team Rachel Wagner. Rachel didn't like it. Sean liked it. Sean thinks she'll like it.
Wow.
I'm nervous. People are not as... There's a ton of people loving it, but not as many as I hoped. Carla with a super chat. Thank you so much. Would you rather Christopher Nolan make another comic book film or another biopic? I don't think I want another... I don't like this specific pick because it's a little bit of a weird one. Because you basically picked a genre that I like, obviously, love, not like love, and a genre that I'm not as crazy about. But a director that I don't want to do the genre. I want him to do something besides the genre. But I don't want him to do a biopic specifically. I mean, I'm not opposed to it, but I like Christopher Nolan doing the back and forth of doing a serious drama and then a more fun sci-fi action thing, a genre film. I mean, that's the way to phrase it. Doing drama, historic ones apparently, World War II based, and then genre films. So I want him to do whatever he wants in the genre film. Something. Actually, what I want for Nolan, and this is what I want. I also want him to do another big sci-fi, Tenet 2 with a better different, change the script up, learn from the first movie, Inception 2, sure, or a different idea, whatever he's interested in. Also, what I really want him to do, go back and do something small again. Whether Memento size, Prestige. A lot of you guys love the Prestige more than me. Maybe not for me, but I want him to go back to something like that. Maybe his brother is off kind of doing his own thing and killing it himself with Fallout. But maybe do another team up with the two of them. But yeah, his brother was asked, "Would you team up? Do you want to team up with your brother again?" He goes, "I would love to, but I also want to direct, and you can't have two directors. And when your brother's Christopher Nolan, he wins. So I kind of have to do my own thing if I want to be able to do my own thing. But I'd love to work with him again. So that's the tricky part when you got two people that are too insanely talented. What, you got one for me?
Favorite film not from the USA? I was just answering it myself.
Favorite film not from the United States. What was your answer?
Ong Bak and RRR.
You've only watched Ong Bak. What, Ong Bak? You mean The Protector with the elephant?
Well, The Protector's from the United States, right? Did they make it here?
No.
Oh, then yeah, The Protector.
Yeah, The Protector's the one. So the Tony Jaa film, The Protector.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I did love it.
That was yeah. I was surprised given the ending. Tony Jaa film. Man, that guy was a legend for 2 movies and never quite lived up to his first 2 films.
Never got the opportunity he should have had.
Well, he never got the Hollywood opportunity. His Hollywood opportunities came after, I think, his physical prime had passed, and they never used him right. Anyway, and RRR. Let's throw RRR in the mix there. We'll throw in John Woo's Better Tomorrow, The Killer, Hard Boiled. You got to throw in Mad Max 1 and 2, Australian films. So we got, that was 3 different countries right there. It's tough because I don't think about movies based off the country that they're from. So sometimes I don't think about some of them. But those are some that immediately come to mind. Oh wait, I almost skipped this one. Keep, watch, burn. Here, see this, Jennifer. This is what they do on Keep, Watch, Burns. Raiders of the Lost Ark, Terminator 2, Die Hard.
I mean, again, I think that
There's-
Superman, Rocky, and Jaws was impossible.
This one, easier than you'd expect. We're going to burn Raiders of the Lost Ark. I still got Last Crusade. Temple of Doom. I'm still good. I can burn that one. Terminator 2 or Die Hard, which one do I want to watch on loop? I think I'm going to go with Keep, Die Hard, Christmas classic, and we'll watch Terminator 2. I still got the original Terminator that I can keep watching. Those ones get brutal on me. Brutal, brutal, brutal. Tony Movie Chappie with a big super. Thank you so much, kind sir. Once again, I met him a couple different times at MegaCon. That's one of the fun things about doing the Comic Cons and stuff. Like, I'll meet people, they'll tell me their usernames, and then like as soon as I met you and I have like a username, like I can put a face to it, a personality. That's really cool. Oftentimes I wonder this, but do you think it was a mistake for Disney to fire John Lasseter from Disney Animation and Pixar, especially with what he did, Disney putting out banger after banger for Disney and even Pixar? So he's referring to John Lasseter was basically the brainchild for Pixar during the original run, and then Pixar was acquired fully by Disney, and then Lasseter was put over Disney Animation and Pixar, and so then Disney Animation, which had a bad decade, then had a great decade, while Pixar wasn't as good of a decade as the previous 15 years, but still filled with a bunch of great movies. John Lasseter got #MeToo'd. I wasn't there. I don't know how bad it was. So it's tough to comment. It's tough to like go into specifics. Assuming that he did actual bad stuff, which I have no reason to think otherwise. It seems like he didn't do criminal activity. Otherwise, there would be criminal charges. But did bad stuff, warranting getting rid of a guy that literally was responsible for them making billions and billions of dollars. You can't allow the fact that someone makes you billions of dollars make it okay to treat people horribly. Is John Lasseter, I have stated in videos, he was the secret sauce, and ever since he's been gone, Pixar has not been as good. Period. Disney Animation has not been as good. Period. There's a couple good ones in there, but the secret sauce is missing. Certain people are better at running a studio, identifying good ideas, identifying talent, putting the right people in charge of it, running story groups. People are uniquely gifted at that, and he is one of those people, or at least he was for 25 years, and that doesn't matter if he's a scumbag. Being great at running a studio doesn't make it okay to be a scumbag. So, but I don't know what he did, but the fact that he didn't sue Disney for like wrongful termination means that he almost certainly was doing stuff he shouldn't have been doing. He doesn't seem to have been like, what are you talking about? I'm a super nice guy. So I just can't say, man, Pixar sucks now, you shouldn't have fired the creep. Like, man, Weinstein Company hasn't been nearly as good since Harvey went to jail. We should bring Harvey. Like, no. Peter with the super chat. Thank you so much. What did you think of Chucky season 3 and the entire Chucky series in general? I've only watched the first season. I had fun with the first season. I liked it. I thought they did a good job of turning Chucky into a TV show and doing what you can do with a TV show, long form storytelling, pulling in more niche things and from different movies, continuities, bringing characters back, playing things out. Did some real interesting stuff by having Brad's daughter play him, and they pulled it off pretty well. So there's a lot of things in there that I enjoyed, but like I didn't get to the end of it and like, man, I just need more. I just didn't feel that way. And then whenever the second season came about, I was indifferent. I didn't have a strong opinion about it. And I just heard from too many people that it went too goofy and was too silly. And then likewise heard season 3 is better, but still pretty goofy. And I heard season 2 is very Seed of Chucky. And it just didn't interest me, so I never caught up on it. So the first season, I had a good time with it. It has your Devon Sawa. She's obsessed with him.
I am not.
What, not? You're not?
I'm not.
Oh. She's snuggling with 2 different dogs over here. Isn't that really warm? This movie's like it's like a sauna with all these lights on and everything.
Pretty hot.
Yeah. Do you have one for me?
Oh, thoughts on Frank Grillo playing Rick Flag in Peacemaker season 2?
Is he playing Rick Flag or is he playing Sergeant Rock? Is it Rick Flag?
I don't know.
Because he's in the what? Oh, Rick Flag Senior.
Oh.
What do I think about Frank Grillo playing Rick Flag Senior? I'm assuming that is Rick Flag's dad. I mean, I'm a big Frank Grillo fan. I trust James Gunn. I really enjoyed Peacemaker season 1. So I assume the idea there is, if you haven't seen the Suicide Squad, not to say too much, there is an interesting interaction to be had between Frank Grillo as Rick Flag Sr. with Peacemaker. A very interesting interaction there.
Rick Flag's dad could take Peacemaker's dad.
Well, it's pretty easy to do. But you haven't seen Peacemaker, so you don't know why. He's a Klansman. There was a Klansman superhero.
It's just Frank Grillo.
Burst the T-1000. It's Robert Patrick, yeah. Anyway, I'm totally down. Let's go say I'm totally down for it. Thank you for the super chat. Shiba dog raising an arm to greet someone, asking how is it going.
Like Doge.
Oh, is this a Doge? This is a meme thing?
Well, the Shiba dog is like Doge.
Oh.
So imagine that waving its hand at you, saying how is it going.
It's good. Had 100 million views. Life is good. I can't complain. The problem I have in life right now is I have too many good opportunities in front of me. That is like the best like problem to have in life. That's what life looks like for me. Like, oh, these are all really cool things.
Liam said hi. Liam's in the chat.
Liam's in the chat. Where? It's at the bottom. I can't scroll to it because I'll lose my spot. I'm 44 minutes behind on my super chats.
I know.
So I can't. I wish I could scroll to it. Let me see over this one. Liam's animation. If you don't know, in the chat, Liam animation. That is a child of mine. Go to channel. What does he say? Have you
seen Has Been Hotel?
Have you seen Has Been Hotel? He's asking me if he knows the answer to this. I have not. I have heard all the songs. I was going to see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and my son was DJing. And so I've heard all the songs from it and had the songs and the lore explained to me, but I have not seen Has Been Hotel. Apparently I know someone that wants to watch it that lives in my house. Multiple people.
Desperately. It is not age appropriate.
Yeah, well, I picked up on that a little bit. Got a super chat. Thank you so much. Hi, Sean. I'm an inspiring director and was wondering what you think makes a great movie. What you think is the most important element in a movie. So I actually, I literally gave a talk at the Nashville Film Institute 2 weeks ago. And one of the topics was what makes for a great movie. That was like literally the topic. And so I discussed that in my talk that I shared on this channel. And then I also clipped out that specific question on my Sean Chandler Plus channel. So just go over to my second channel, Sean Chandler Plus, scroll back 2 weeks, and it should say, like, what makes for a great movie. That's like the question you're asking is exactly the question that I tackled in there. And the more specific part you put in there, what you think is the most important element in a movie, I don't think movies are too many different things, which is one of the main themes of my answer in the longer video. It's a comedy. The most important thing is, do people laugh? Horror film, do you scare people? Are there thrills? So I think it's different for every genre. It's different for every movie. There's not like, this is the one thing, the cinematography, the acting. Every movie's different because art, like, it's a way to communicate, but it's not even narrative based. It doesn't have to be narrative based. Most movies are narrative based, but not all of them. You got one for me, Jennifer?
Someone said you're super lucky to have me. I'm so supportive and happy. That was nice.
It is true. This has always been a positive that my antics she puts up with and supports me on them. This is true. We are now an hour behind. Worst movie in the Harry Potter franchise. I don't remember which one I put in last. My Harry Potter ranking is from 2 years ago, whenever the Dumbledore movie came out. I had the I don't even know. Like, I thought that number 6 didn't translate very well. It was just very
confusing. A lot of
confusing.
people didn't like that book either.
So that one didn't work well for me. If you throw in Fantastic Beasts, the second Fantastic Beast is a big mess. But check out my ranking. I've got a better answer there. Duh, with a super chat. Thank you so much. Heather Langenkamp said she would do another Nightmare on Elm Street. Do you think Robert Englund could do one more? So over on my second channel, I think a couple different times, I've actually done my pitch for if you're to do what should the next Nightmare on Elm Street movie should be. My pitch was with Robert Englund. Let's get one more movie out of him. Do that legacy sequel. Burn Elm Street to the ground. But look up Sean Chandler, Nightmare on Elm Street pitch. A couple different videos should come up that literally tackle that exact question. Michael in Super Chat, thank you so much. Even though you can't pick your favorite Nicolas Cage movie, what would you say is your favorite Nicolas Cage performance? Favorite Nicolas Cage performance? I mean, there's something special about Face Off because you get two different crazy Nicolas Cage performances in a John Woo action movie, with John Travolta also doing two crazy performances. So two of these big actors doing wild stuff at the same time. Yeah, that's what comes to mind off the top of my head, but that's a tough one. I'm going to do one more of these, and I need one from you, Jennifer.
Okay.
Tony Movie Chappie, thank you again, once again, for the super chat. What is it about crazy, cooped-up grindhouse movies that make them so divisive and hated, while most of us love them and are our cup of tea? There's like a grind. I don't like it's showing me something weird in front of it, but what is it about crazy cooped up grindhouse movies that makes them so divisive and hated? While most of it's a little bit tough without knowing what movie you're talking about to be able to give a specific answer. But the more specific something is, the more it's designed to be for a specific person, the more likely it is to be polarizing. If I cater a movie to be exactly what you want, then there's all sorts of specific things about the choices that make it for you that make it something that other people wouldn't like. So like Pixar are the masters of making broad appeal films that just have a very wide audience of people that like them. That's what Marvel did really well. Up until Phase 4, they made just very broad appeal films that kind of everybody could enjoy, all ages, all different kind of audiences. And then as soon as you say grindhouse and you go crazy cooped up, everyone likes a different type of crazy. So your type of crazy is not Jennifer's crazy. So immediately she doesn't like it. And the things that like make you love Neil Blomkamp's films are exactly why my wife was like, oh, that was too intense and extreme. So the more you make something niche so someone loves it, making someone else is less likely to like it. Like Chili's, it's harmless. There's not a lot of people who think that's the greatest restaurant ever, but everyone kind of likes it. So it's that sort of thing. As soon as you go cooped up crazy, grindhouse, spicy food. People like spicy food, love spicy food, and everyone else is like, I can't tolerate this. This is too hot.
Aaron Perlman's watching.
Our Perlman is in the house.
Yep.
Oh, we got a super chat from. Are we still
a super sticker?
A super sticker. Okay, cool. So you found a way to get in there. If you don't know, if you see in the chat Aaron Perlman with the sticker, that is my friend in Bakersfield, California, and he's on the news out there and invites me on from time to time, which is still mind-blowing that that's a thing that I actually get to do, which is very, very cool. And then I went out there in January, and I got to spend a day hanging out with him. And so I was in the radio station because he's also a host on a radio show, and we went out for California barbecue, which did not offend me as a Texan. It was good. It passed the test. It had like tri-tips. So real cool guy. Ton of fun to hang out with him.
He said, "Who's your favorite Zorro, and what's your favorite podcast, and why is it considered a joy?"
Okay. Who's my favorite Zorro? I mean, I'm going Antonio Banderas. Mask of Zorro, great, underrated film that not enough people watch, not enough people talk about. Just great swashbuckler adventure. 1998. Martin Campbell, guy that did GoldenEye, did Casino Royale, did Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern, did Mask of Zorro. Great one. So obvious. I'm sure that's the one you're going to pick too because you're about my age too. But just such a good swashbuckler. Favorite podcast? What was the name of it again?
Consider It Joy.
Consider It Joy. It's his podcast. I've been there on a couple different times. I tried to share it on. We tried to do a video of it. I was going to share it and everything like that, and then the camera was messed up, so it was only pointing it at one of the people. But super chat from Michael: have you seen 8mm with Nicolas Cage? Underrated film. I have not. I know exactly what you're talking about. That was like right as I was getting into tracking which movies when they're coming out and all of that stuff. But I've never actually seen the film. AJ with the Angels with a super chat. Thank you so much. Best villain in the Mad Max franchise for me. When you say you want, for me, and say what you want about the movie itself, but Tina Turner's character is the best in my honest opinion. So, I'm in a weird position right now where I've literally read 2 different books on the Mad Max movies in the last month. But I haven't rewatched the movies yet. So my answer might be different when I do the actual ranking. Toe Cutter from the original is the one that sticks with me the most. It's the same actor that's Morton Joe in Fury Road. Likewise, I don't know. I watched the first 2 so many times back in the day that they just stick out to me a little bit more. And Mohawk guy from Road Warrior, it's the same actor that's the main villain in Commando. I don't know that I like Mohawk guy all that much, but the fact that it's the same guy just always makes me fascinated by that one. Actually, earlier today, Jennifer can confirm, we were listening to Tina Turner. We listened because I have Mad Max on the brain, so we listened to We Don't Need Another Hero, and then Apple Music went into the other one. So we while returning her rental car, we listened to Tina Turner. Did I tell you need to have one for me? I don't know. Dylan with a super chat. Thank you so much. From Australia. I love that. I love that people all over the globe are able to get into connect. Movie fans all across the globe can connect because of the internet. What are your thoughts on Sony making an adaptation of their PlayStation video game Until Dawn into a movie? Unfortunately, I haven't played Until Dawn, and so I can't give specific thoughts on that game and whether it would adapt well or anything like that. Because I spend so much time in the world of movies, I'm just not able to play that many video games. Like, I just can't dive into that world at the same time. But, like, generally speaking, we're in a really good time for video game adaptations. Not everything is hit. Knuckles, I did not think was a good adaptation or a good show. But Fallout, fantastic. Sonic in general, really good. Mario last year, really good. And so I think we're in a phase right now where they're figuring it out. They're realizing how to bring these things to the big screen, whether movies, television, and they're just making a lot better choices in all of it. All right, I got this one, and then I'll grab one from you, Jennifer.
Okay, and then you're probably I hate to do it, but you're probably gonna have to just fly through your super chats. I don't know if you'll make it. You've got 30 minutes.
Then I'm an hour behind. I turned them off, but I guess I'm still an hour behind. Not a fan of Cobra Kai being split into 3. It just seems like dragging it out. Seems harder to rate the season as you don't know how it's going to end. I mean, I don't know, rate the season. I mean, that... I mean, like, there's... Like, for... Up until recently, TV shows would release... like, episode per week for 12 weeks... take 2-3 months off, come back and release 12 more episodes for over 12 weeks. Stretched out over 8 months of the year, and then you take the summer off. That's what television was up until fairly recently. So the idea that, like, we're going to do our TV show, and instead of dropping it all on one day, we're going to release it in 3 batches. I just, like, the idea of, I just don't see it as dragging it out at all. Like, I just don't. That seems like a very now way to think about it. So if you think, some of it is they have to edit the episodes. They have to finish making the episodes. So they'll have a batch done one window at a time and then later on. But I just don't, I don't know if that's, I don't know how old you are, but I perceive some of these things very differently for that reason. Theo, hey Sean, what made you want to become a film critic in general? Well, the simple answer is this is just what I've always done. Whenever I got my first disc for 5 hours of free AOL, I looked up the Independence Day webpage or whatever. Like the 1995 film or 96, whatever that year it came out. Like, it was stuff like that. Like, wow, you can learn about movies on the internet? And I put up a Jackie fan webpage in 1998, and I have movie reviews on it. I did that 18 years before I started Sean Chandler Talks About it. And then I watched 10 years ago, but and now I guess over 10 years ago, but discovered John Campea, Chris Stuckman, Jeremy Johns, John Flickinger. Now I know all those guys except Jeremy Johns, and when I could do that. But, like, it was always a hobby, and it was a hobby that, because of you, I've been able to turn it into a career. So thank you. Once again, thank you. Blake, Super Chat, thank you. Hey, Sean, what would you like to see from Jack Reacher in Season 3? Man, I think they've done a great job with the first 2 seasons, and they found a way to have a different dynamic in each of them. Where the first one was him by himself with the local police. This season gave us with his team. I'm trying to think, what's the dynamic shift? That's what I want to figure out. I haven't sat there and brainstormed what I want to see, so I don't have a list of things that I want, but it's finding that new dynamic. Where can you put Reacher that is interesting? Jennifer, give me the answer.
I can't.
Golly jeepers. I don't know. I don't have off the top of my head. I haven't read a bunch of the books. I've just read a couple of them. And one of them is what the first season was based off of. And I liked the season more than I liked the book. The book I didn't like very much, actually. And then the season, that was awesome. So trying to figure out what can you do with Reacher. I don't know if that's putting him in an establishment to where he has to work and boundaries. I don't know what that is, that it makes for an interesting conflict that uses his skill set well. Thoughts on Mato Shinaki films like Your Name and Suzume? Unfortunately, I've seen neither one of those films. I'm just not really into anime, so it's just not something I was drawn towards. I wish I would have seen Suzume last year. My good friend Rachel said Your Name is great, so perhaps like I need to give them a try, and probably need to watch it with my kids because my kids like anime, and they can sometimes help me like things that I don't normally like. But I haven't seen them. Brandon, are you gonna make any more haul videos? I did a haul video last month. I've done a couple of them this year just on Sean Chandler Plus. So I've still done some of them recently. And I've got things on my, well, they're not on my desk at the moment. I have thoughts. I'll probably have a May haul video, not too expensive, but I did one fairly recently. I believe I did a either March or April one on Sean Chandler Plus. I will have my Blu-ray collection video this year. It was going to be in January. It was going to be in February. Then the plan was for May. But currently I'm just waiting for my channel's views to get better, which is kind of funny. We just hit 100 million views. So it's like this big milestone. But generally speaking, this year the channel's been very slow. The YouTube algorithm hasn't been particularly friendly to me. And something like a video like that it takes 12 hours to film. It's like it's a video that I'm counting on to be a hit and do well. And I don't want to put it out when the channel's when it's slow, when YouTube's not working in my favor. But it's coming. It's very much on my mind. Once things pick up, it could happen. We need a sequel to 2019. We need a Child's Play 2019 sequel. I'm for it. I like that. I thought that was a good adaptation. People didn't seem to respond well to it, and then they responded well to Megan, which is like the same concept. For whatever reason, one of them worked. Was people connected with it better simply because it was, I guess, some of it was because it wasn't tied to Chucky, and some of it was, I think, the Megan tapped into a little bit internet virality that made it a little bit catchier. So the narrative of one was this catchy, fun, new Chucky-esque character, and then it was like, this isn't Chucky! Brad Dourif is Chucky, but I'd be for it. Favorite opening credit sequence. My pick is David Fincher's Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which was done by the director of Deadpool. Is the guy that did that. Opening credit. Favorite opening credits. Well, the opening credits for Deadpool are actually really good. With their like sarcastic credits. Opening credits on movies. I gotta get. What do you got for me? What do you got for me? We got something good. Sometimes those are really tricky. My brain. Sometimes it's really tricky to come up with your favorites, on the spot because my brain just can't. It's going in too many places, so I can't lock in to think through them. And I don't have if I got a second browser in front of me where I could see you guys just dropping your picks for best opening sequences, that could help me out a great deal. But unfortunately, I am not coming up with an interesting pick. Trying to like opening specifically credits that are really cool. I wish I could. I'm sorry. It's really tough. I'm sorry. Especially on Super Chats, I hate it when I have a really bad answer. You got one for me, Jennifer?
Yeah. Screens. What is your all-time favorite so bad it's good movie? Think of unintentional masterpieces like The Room, Troll 2, Samurai Cop, Master of Disguise, Showgirls, Howard the Duck.
Okay, so a couple of those would be ones that I would pick. So picks for movies that are so bad, they're great. They're so bad, they loop back around. The Room is an all-timer, of course. And at MegaCon, my booth was next to Greg Sestero. So I met him. All week we're talking to people, and afterwards we're like, hey man, it was so cool to see you. And he was so chill, friendly with everyone, patient with everyone. And then after he's like, hey man, that was so cool the way you talked to so many people. Your voice is toast. I was like, yeah, a lot of people. So it's cool to meet him. I'll throw in there The Story of Ricky, will be my fun. Oh, Trolls 2, of course, is a classic one, and there's a documentary about it. Troll 2, best worst movie ever. I'm throwing in The Story of Ricky. That was my go-to one with my friends back in the late 90s, early zeros. I had a VHS copy of it, and it's this movie about this guy named Ricky. It's his story. Riccio is its other title. And he goes to this prison. I believe it's a Hong Kong film. And it's like ultra violent. It's nonsense. He like smashes people's heads and punches heads off.
I had no idea what I was getting into with that. We watched it on your 30th birthday.
Yeah.
As a surprise, and I was like, "What
is
this?"
So weird. Tony Morrow, favorite pirate Planets of the Apes movie. So that's tomorrow's video. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but I adore the Caesar trilogy. It is a vicious battle for the #1 spot, and for different reasons, I want to put all of them in the top spot. But the one that most I like every time I go, I have to put this one on the top is Dawn. Just that's both that really in their own way, all three of them. But I mean, War and Dawn in particular, that those are blockbusters that came out with that much of moral complexity. There's so many things about them that it's crazy that they exist. Tony Movie Chappie, thank you once again. After watching People vs. George Lucas, I am shocked that we haven't gotten the sequel called The People vs. Kathleen Kennedy or Disney yet debacle of the sequel trilogy and the Disney Star Wars. Yeah, I mean, well, I'm sure it's coming. Coming soon enough that we will get a documentary dealing with the fan reaction to Kathleen Kennedy, which is not particularly good. Kathleen Kennedy is a legendary producer, or executive producer, that Spielberg, all these people tell you how she was pivotal in getting things done. That is not the same skill set as running a studio or being able to greenlight ideas or vision cast. So the person that is over the vision for Star Wars is a bean counter. Look at what we got.
Sean,
yo!
You have 11 minutes left.
I've got, yeah, totally. I got this. Yeah, I mean, I'm only 40 minutes behind on Super Chats. I got this. I'm watching the time. We have a hard cutoff. We're heading out to go see the Fall Guy. I saw it at its world premiere. I was so excited. Ryan Gosling was in the room. I even though I was in like the back row in the nosebleeds in a 1,200 seat movie theater, my nose was bleeding. I think that Ryan winked at me. But we're gonna go see that. Finally seen it with my wife. When doing rankings for movie series, do you rank from memory or do rewatches? Rewatches every single time. I depends on how long you last watched it, decade, and your time. Yeah, if I haven't watched, if I haven't watched it within the last 2 years, I rewatch it. Something like the video I did yesterday on the best movies from the worst franchises, I didn't rewatch those. But like Planet of the Apes, rewatching it. The David Leitch movies, a week ago, rewatched it. Mad Max, rewatching it. Something like Marvel, the Marvel Studios films is in a different category because in the history of my channel, I've watched them and written notes on them 5 times. Or more than that, some of them. And over half of them came out in the history of my channel, so I watched them in the theater multiple times. So I have a ton of notes on all of them, and I'm actively recovering them as they came out. So I didn't rewatch the Marvel movies last year, but I did different research in prep in reading books. But I do not rank movies based off old memories. That's why it's tough. Like people are like, hey, why don't you just rank this? Why don't you rank the Smallville seasons? You've watched all the Smallville seasons. Because I watched the Smallville seasons when they aired 14 to 20 years ago. I can't do that. I'm not. That is not. You have gotten me to 100 million views and 275,000 subscribers because of a certain quality and work that I put into it. So that's some of the reasons why it's tough to do certain rankings, because I have to watch all those movies. When I did the Spielberg ranking, I watched every single Spielberg film in a span of 3 months. Scorsese ranking, all of those movies in a span of 3 months, and I read 2 books from Scorsese. Like, this is my job, and I take that seriously. To earn your time, for you to click on my video, I need to have put the work into it to make it, whether entertaining, like I thought yesterday's videos was something that was entertaining, and I did different research for it. And then for a movie ranking, I need to be the top ranking guy, have to put in more work than other people. Super chat. Thank you so much. Are you a fan of Hong Kong action, and have you seen any Jackie Chan movies? Oh, you have asked my first movie webpage was a Jackie Chan fan webpage. My on-ramp to getting into film criticism was Jackie Chan. Rumble in the Bronx comes out, Super Cop, Operation Condor. I make a Jackie Chan fan webpage. I was huge into 80s and 90s Hong Kong action. John Woo, Heroic Bloodshed, Yuen Wu Ping, all his collaborations with Jet Li before The Matrix. Like, when I saw The Matrix, I was like, this is just all of those John Woo and Jet Li movies with the plot of the Terminator. I was an idiot also, but that was my thoughts when I originally saw it. Hong Kong action was so pivotal for me. That, like, when Michelle Yeoh was cast in Tomorrow Never Dies, I was like, from Super Cop, this is awesome. But I like Hong Kong cinema, and specifically Jackie Chan, are a pivotal piece of my journey. All right, we might have hit the point in time where I turned the super chats off.
Really?
Oh, no. Someone. Oh, no, here we go. We did it. Aaron, we did it. All right.
Yeah, that was the sticker.
So we got 9 minutes left.
What?
We're going dig in, blah, 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 blah.
What was that?
My brain's shutting down. There's Aaron Perlman, my good friend in Bakersfield, California. They got me on the news, which is incredible. Life is a wild, crazy adventure. All right, Jennifer, what do you got for me?
Oh my goodness. How do you feel about the Sony Paramount merger?
The which one?
Sony Paramount merger?
If it happens, I hate it. I don't know that it'll happen. I don't think right now the thing that we need in the world is merging all of our studios together. We need more voices, not fewer voices. We need more different styles, leadership, like different sections, not merging them all into these mega corporations. That is a negative in Sean's noodle.
Your noodle.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the Harry Potter reboot series and the animated Twilight reboot series?
If I've done some videos. I think I've done some elaborated thoughts on this on Sean Chandler Plus when some of these things were first announced. If you're gonna do, like, if you stop and think about it, if you start over redoing Harry Potter right now and you go into production right now, by the time it comes out, it's 25 years since the first movie came out. But those movies hold up. So don't do it as movies. If you did it as seasons, each season is a book, and you do it that way, I think maybe there's something to that. And, you'd have to elaborate and you'd flesh out some of the early books, and then you could finally properly adapt the later books that were longer and had to be condensed. That's the way to do it. But, I mean, the movies hold up. My kids adore those films, and they came out before they were born. Twilight, I don't care. I don't know anything about it. I don't care about it.
I haven't heard about that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's Twilight. Who cares? Harry Potter and Twilight are not in the same category. Like, I'm not a big Harry Potter person, but Harry Potter is, like, actually something really great and special. And Twilight is like one of these weird things that touched on a fantasy in a way that really caught hold of popular culture, but it's trash. It's like it's so toxic. It's about a high school girl who gets suicidal when her high school boyfriend breaks up with her. That's such a horrible message. Jennifer loved it. What do you got for me?
Way to throw me under the bus. Sorry. Dad mentioned that his favorite Nicolas Cage movie is The Rock.
Yeah. So, father-in-law likes The Rock.
Good choice.
Great choice. Can't argue with that one. And also a great Michael Bay film. An example that Michael Bay, when working with a good script, has a lot to offer. Flight of the Navigator or Intruder? Flight of the Navigator. I've never seen Intruder. I've seen Flight of the Navigator like 1,000 times. Learned about the speed of light and how as you move closer to the speed of light, time moves slower from Flight of the Navigator. What do you got for me? We got 5 minutes.
Oh my goodness. Hold on. I pushed the wrong button. I'm sorry.
Opinions on pitch meetings and honest trailers. I haven't really... I actually happened to watch an honest trailer just a couple days ago on the Planet of the Apes, down on the Planet of the Apes. But I don't really haven't watched honest trailers in years. Well, kind of since everything kind of went down over there. Full disclosure, I'm friends with Andy Signor, friends a little bit with Dan Murrell, so I have used to watch hours and hours and hours of their work. All the time. The movie fights, all of that stuff. Back in the day, I was a fan, and it's wild to me that I know both of them now. Pitch meetings, my family watches those all the time. And we watch just Ryan George's channel in general. Like his non-pitch meeting ones, kids watch all that stuff. Like where did vegetables get their names and animals get their names and all. We watch all of that stuff. Everything Ryan George is like adored in our household. Dever. We gotta fly through these things. We're running out of time.
Would you take your son to see Deadpool since it's rated R?
So you mean Deadpool and Wolverine? Someone actually asked me this earlier today. My simple answer was, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna take my neighbor, JP, to go see it, and I'll make a decision from there. I don't know. I don't know. Like the first Deadpool, I think there's a bunch of things that I wouldn't take my son to see that in the theater. Even the R-rated version of Deadpool 2, I think I'd be fine with that. I don't know if she would be fine with that, but I think I would be okay with Deadpool 2, even the non-Once Upon a Deadpool version. But I got to see the movie before I can make a decision like that. With something like that, I don't go, oh yeah, he loves Deadpool, I'm going to take my 12-year-old son to see this movie that's R-rated. No, I'm going to see it and make a decision.
Have you seen the original Planet of the Apes from the 60s? It's amazing, way beyond its time.
I mean, of course. I have a ranking of the Planet of the Apes movies from whenever War came out. But, I watched all those movies back in the late 90s. And then we rewatched all of them in prep. But you'll hear my thoughts on it tomorrow. I shot that video earlier today, and I will edit it tonight, and then you will see it tomorrow.
We're at 7.
We are at 7. Final one. This is when everyone's has thoughts on X-Men 97. I put out a short with my initial thoughts. I'm not caught up. I was traveling too much. I fully plan on watching through all of it or catching up on all of it between now and Wednesday. And then Wednesday, I'll do my review if appropriate. Episodes ranked. From the 3-4 episodes I did see, great continuation, thematically rich. Like, this is like, right, Marvel Studios there's still some really cool stuff in here. Learn from this. This is a big win. But, like, I haven't seen the last 5 episodes. Like, all this stuff where people on Twitter have been like, I can't believe they did it! I don't know what they did. I don't think I've had it spoiled for me, but I don't know what they did. Someone asked, what's your favorite comic book movie of all time? I have a video ranking those. You can just look that one up. Okay. Zachary asked me, please answer his, so I will do it for you, Zachary. Keep watch, burn. This is our last one if you want to open the door so we can breathe. It's like a sauna in here. Keep watch, burn. Planet of the Apes, Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, Dark Knight trilogy. Pretty easily burning Guardians of the Galaxy, which feels kind of crazy, but there's one of those that I don't like. The other two don't have any movies I don't like or dislike like that. Where it gets tough, which one am I rewatching more is really what this turns into. I think I might watch Dark Knight trilogy and keep Planet of the Apes because I have other Batman movies and I have other Nolan films. So that sounds a little crazy, but there's a reason kind of why I play that way. Whereas that Caesar trilogy, I think is something real specific, that there's nothing else like that in existence. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining the chat. Thank you so much for getting us to 100 million views. I very much am living like my dream life. I work for myself, watching movies and talking about them for a living. Literally since 1998, I was doing that for free just because I enjoyed doing it. Because of you, I get to do this full time. That's incredible, and there's so many amazing... My biggest problem in life right now is I have too many cool opportunities in front of me. Thank you so much for making that happen. If you like these live streams where I answer questions, join Patreon at any level. I do these every Saturday. Tomorrow I will be doing one of these at 2 o'clock. And join at any level, and I answer everybody's questions. So, highly encourage you to join over there if you like that kind of thing. Truly, truly, I mean it. And I say every time I meet people, I say it over and over and over again. Thank you so much. And keep talking movies and TV too much.